Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I'm Simply G and today I'm going to be showing off everything I got for June. Fair amount of stuff here this month. Quite a few, well, pretty much all continuing series for manga, but I have some anime as well this month, so rather than spend too long on this intro, I'll get straight into it and I hope you guys enjoy. So first up ends the first season anime of Chainsaw Man, a adaptation of a manga that I adore. I have actually seen this prior to purchasing it. I don't watch a huge amount of anime anymore, but this was one that I wanted to see how it was adapted. And although it's not like a one-to-one adaptation and every adaptation is going to have its, positives and negatives, I really enjoyed this. I think it's a really interesting adaptation of the series, and I think fundamentally it captures the heart of the series. It's not as zany or kind of over-the-top comicsy as the original manga, but I don't inherently think that that's a bad thing. Chainsaw Man really doesn't need any introduction. I adore this series. It's become hugely popular and hugely influential in this current era of shonen. I love everything that Tasuke Fujimoto, the mangaka, creates. I haven't been disappointed by a single one of his series as of yet. And so much so that we're actually doing a spotlight episode on Fujimoto Sensei this month on Read Right to Left. So if you are wanting to hear more in-depth thoughts about Chainsaw Man, stay tuned for that. But this anime adaptation, 13 episodes? 12 episodes. There's also a sequel film being made as well, which will adapt one of the later arcs, or the next arc in this first chapter of the Chainsaw Man series. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I actually got this particular release secondhand as well with the next anime that I'm going to be showing off. I tend to try and get anime nowadays secondhand, namely because I don't watch a lot anymore, but also like there's such a large secondhand market generally, and for a standard edition like this, I'm also kind of stepping back a little bit from limited editions. I'm also paring back I say this all the time, but I go in cycles of wanting certain things and then not wanting certain things and paring back and growing. But I'm currently in this position where I'm wanting to step back quite a bit from collecting, especially anime, and I'm going through my anime collection quite diligently to see what I do and don't want to keep. And so when I want to pick up a newer title, I'm generally just like happy to watch it on streaming, or if I do want to own it, to pick it up in the standard edition, unless it's like really amazing, some kind of limited edition. But this series only got a standard edition anyway, so I didn't have to make that decision. But yeah, I got this secondhand, very happy with it, and I don't know when I'll rewatch it next, but it's good to have the option. The other anime that I got this month is actually a double dip. This is actually a series that I adore, for one, but I'm replacing my limited edition with the standard edition, and that is the fantastic Vinland Saga Season 1 complete collection. This, of course, is an adaptation of the manga by Makoto Yukimura of the same name. I've seen both seasons of this. I adore both seasons of this. I adore the manga. Yeah, this is a phenomenal series, and I actually already own the series in the UK limited edition, but kind of reflecting on space and also what I want my collection to be or to reflect. I've decided to move towards like the standard and hopefully the complete collection releases of this series. I know that the second season has actually started being released by Crunchyroll specifically, but that's currently being released in half season set, so I might wait like, I don't know, 2 years until there is a complete collection release before jumping on the next season, or purchasing the next season, I should say. Another one that I purchased secondhand and fairly happy, I don't have any issues with that. Yeah, love the series, read the manga. It's another one that I don't think needs a huge amount of explanation around, because most people are aware of the series. If you haven't watched it, do check it out on Netflix. It's very, 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 very good. Also an art book for this month. This is the third and, as of right now, final volume of Scribbles by Kaoru Mori. I already own this in the Japanese wideband release. I don't have the standard, or I didn't purchase the standard Japanese release for this, because by the time the Japanese release had been released or announced, the wideband edition of the Japanese release had also been announced, so I transitioned to wideband only. But regardless, more of Kaoru Mori's phenomenal sketch work. Highly recommend this series of art books to anyone who is a traditional, and by that I'm like pen and paper artists, people who are into character design, and of course when I say pen and paper, obviously digital artists also draw in the same way that people do with more physical art supplies. But really, really wonderful understanding of anatomy, of just shape and lay of like muscle, but also fabric. And of course, Kaoru Mori is just the queen of detail work. Really, really, really recommend her books if you are someone who's interested in that sort of thing. On to manga. I actually haven't read any of these volumes at all because I have a busy life. But first up is, we just jumped straight into ongoing manga because I have no debuts, I have no finales. This is the only large trim ongoing manga that I got this month, and that is Yakuza Fiancé Reis wa Taningai by Asuka Konishi. This is a fantastic romantic drama about two teenagers who are both involved in separate Yakuza rival families who have kind of been betrothed to each other. And despite our main character's distaste and real hatred for the Yakuza, she and for the male character in this series, the relationship itself is fascinating, enthralling, the most toxic, terrible example of a relationship you can get in fiction, but man oh man, this is wonderful. I wax poetic about the series every single time I get a new volume, and this one is no different. As said, haven't actually read this particular volume as of yet, but that will be remedied very, very soon. Next, we've got some ongoing Shoujo Beat titles. First is the newest volume of the longest series in my collection. Probably the longest series in a lot of people's collection, especially if you are a Shoujo fan. But this is Skip Beat by Yoshiki Nakamura. This is volume 49. I think I'm behind maybe a volume. It's been a long... These volumes are kind of, I don't want to say they're few and far between, but they don't have a regular publishing schedule in the same way that some of the Shonen Jump titles do, because this this magazine only releases, I think it's monthly chapters, so it's a lot longer wait between volumes. Yeah, this is a phenomenal romantic comedy, sort of drama, mainly a rom-com, very heavy on the comedy, although in these later volumes, the romance has certainly ramped up. I adore the series. It's one that I kind of hate recommending because it is so long. 49 volumes is nothing to scoff at, but I do think that it's a series that most everyone can enjoy. It's fun, it's funny. Kyoko is a fantastic main character. The romance is a little bit problematic as of like 2024. There's a fairly large age gap with Kyoko being 16 and Ren, the main love interest, being 21. But you know, that's also kind of typical for this era of shoujo manga. I say this era because this has been running for a long time. Obviously, it is still running, so maybe not as easy for newer fans to get into, but holy moly, definitely worth the watch. There's an anime adaptation, and if you love that, then definitely worth the read. The other shoujo manga, or shoujo beat specifically manga, that I got this month is Yona of the Dawn, volume 41 by Mizuho Kusanagi. Again, I haven't read this, and I actually haven't read volume 40 of the series. I'm a little bit behind, but I adore this fantasy, I guess political action, drama, romance story. This is by far one of my favorite manga being released, full stop. Again, it's one that I don't think needs a lot of explanation around, because if you are within the shoujo circle, you know the series. You're probably reading the series. It's phenomenal. It is wonderful. And even if you're not like a diehard shoujo fan, it is one that has a lot of cross genre appeal. I know there's a lot of male fans of the series. It's one that, you know, it got a very popular anime several years ago now. It's one of those things that I think most people are aware of. And again, it's one that, even though it is longer at 41 volumes and ongoing, it stays compelling and interesting and captivating that entire time. So if you are someone who's kind of hesitant to try it, check out the anime. I definitely ask your library if they have copies of this, because I guarantee they probably do. It is worth the read, if nothing else. On to shonen manga. This is all Shonen Jump stuff, or specifically Viz stuff. First is Chainsaw Man, volume 15. A lot of Chainsaw Man love this pickup video, but you know, every time there's a new volume, I get the new volume. As said, I'm actually, well, I don't know if I said it, but I am a little bit behind on Chainsaw Man. Not a little bit, I'm quite behind on Chainsaw Man. So I'm not even sure if this is content that I've read or not via the app. Who knows? I'm sure I will discover that in due course. Phenomenal series. Highly recommend it to anyone who doesn't mind gratuitous violence and quirkiness and crude humor and very morally gray or just straight up bad people characters and protagonists in a certain sense. I love Chainsaw Man. It's fantastic, and I'm so glad that this like current day shonen, although definitely appeals to the 12-year-old boys, also appeals to the 31-year-old women like myself. Tangentially related to Chainsaw Man, and another very quirky, over-the-top, somewhat crude, very zany shonen action, drama, comedy, and that is, of course, Dandadan by Yukinobu Tatsu. This is volume 7. I have read this one via the app, so this is not new content for me. But oh my goodness, Dandadan is like, I don't know whether I enjoy Chainsaw Man or Dandadan more. For those who don't know, Tatsu Sensei was a assistant to Tasuke Fujimoto, so from the same, I guess, pot of interest, we have quite a few of Fujimoto Sensei's assistants creating manga currently, and they're all really interesting. Very, very... I just like the new perspective that this current era of shonen mangaka are kind of bringing and pushing the boundaries a little bit with the standard tropes. But regardless, outside of all of that, Dandadan is phenomenal. I cannot wait until the anime adaptation. The trailer looks so good. You absolutely better believe that I am watching episode 1 day 1. As said earlier in the video, I don't watch a lot of anime anymore because I am a working adult with a lot of responsibilities. But man, oh man, I will be there when Dandadan episode 1 drops. This is by far one of my favorite manga, and I say that for everything because I don't collect things that I don't enjoy with all of my heart, or at least most of my heart. But yeah, this one is just, I don't know how to describe it any more eloquently than I have in many previous pickup videos before. It's certainly, again, not one for everyone. There's caveats I would suggest for people to look up if you are particularly sensitive, but it's not, I don't think that it's nearly as problematic as some people pretend it is. And I don't know whether that's a reflection on this current era of like puritanical fandom, or I'm just so out of the loop and too old to be getting caught up in those conversations anymore. But Dandadan, I love it, and I highly recommend it. Last but certainly not least for the general quote-unquote manga, this is another shonen title, another Jump title, very different from the last two, but this is volume 5 of Akane Banashi by Yuki Suenaga and Takamasu Moe. Yeah, I mean, probably my favorite sports manga out of Jump since Haikyuu. I really do consider this sports manga in the same way that Chihaya Furu is. For anyone who doesn't know or isn't reading the series, you are missing out on probably one of the better comics being released by Jump currently. I think Akane is fantastic. I really like this plucky female protagonist, again, that you see a lot with male characters, but like she reminds me a lot of Kyoko from Skip Beat, but also Chihaya from Chihaya Furu. Also the girl, I can never remember her name, Inori from Medalist, who's a lot younger than Akane, but like the same vibe. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. This is wonderful. For anyone who doesn't know, it's about Rakugo. And I just really like the fun perspective on it. I hope it's successful insofar as creating renewed interest in Rakugo, in the same way that Hikaru no Go created a renewed interest in Go. Do I think it'll be to that level? No. But I can only imagine that it probably will encourage a lot more young people to investigate, and even more so than something more mature like Descending Stories did. This is fun. It's funny. Again, great cast of characters. I think it just does everything right. Phenomenal rival characters. Just continues to jump from strength to strength. Do I think this will be like a 50-volume series? No. Maybe it is, and maybe I'll be tired of it by then, and, you know, arguably, Chihayafuru is a 50-volume series, so, you know. But I do think that it's probably a safer bet to consider like within that 20 to 30 volume mark, if even that. I don't even know where it's sitting currently in Japan. It might be, I think it's in its teens, maybe 11, 12 volumes. Maybe more. I might be completely off the mark. But I think that like a healthy middle ground doesn't need to be as long as Haikyuu. Doesn't have as large of a cast of characters comparatively. I feel like a healthy stopping point is similar to Hikaru no Go, where I know arguably people wanted that series to go longer, and it could have, but, you know, stop whilst you're ahead. Does that mean that I think that the series has run out of things to do with its characters? No, not at all. But I think that if you are wanting to try the series, again, try it via the app. It is fantastic. And if you don't want to be paying for the Shonen Jump app for some reason, you can also, I'm sure, get it from your library, because I've heard a lot of really positive buzz. Do I think this is one that's like super duper popular with the 12-year-old boys who are reading Shonen Jump? No. But I do think that it's one that appeals to a very broad audience, which we know is kind of the readership of Shonen Jump. It isn't just 12-year-old boys, but they are typically catering to 12-year-old boys. It's nice to see this kind of fun, interesting perspective and take on a sports series coming out of Jump as well. On to the BL. Actually, I have 2 volumes, separate series, but they're both wrapped up in plastic, which again is an indication that I haven't read them yet. But first is Seaside Stranger, Volume 6, Harukaze no Étranger, by Kikana. I really enjoy the series. Age gap, domestic, I don't want to say slow burn romance, because it's not. But I just really enjoy the growth of the relationship over time, and that we do see the relationship between these two characters over years and years. A lot of different personal family drama within the series, and yeah, I just like the characters. I think they are a great time. It's a really, really wonderful BL from 7 Seas, and definitely worth checking out if you haven't. Kaneki, or Kikana, is a great mangaka. I really look forward to picking up Qualia in the Snow, which has another one of her titles just been released by Kuma. Yeah, check it out if you haven't. And last but certainly not least, we have Therapy Game Restart, Volume 4 by Meguro Hinohara. I haven't read Volume 3, which viewers may remember I got last month. This is just the better sequel series to, well, it's certainly the longer series to the main couple. It's really interesting how sometimes that works out, but I definitely find this couple far more compelling than the original. And I guess Sensei does too, because this series has, I believe Therapy Game has 2 or 3 volumes, and then this Therapy Game Restart, which is a sequel to that series, is obviously now in 4 volumes. I believe a 5th volume has just been released in Japan. I might be misremembering, but it is still ongoing. Yeah, great, very spicy, very like wonderful chemistry and tension between our main characters. If you like your BL on the hell yeah side, then check this one out. It is perfection. So that's everything that I got for June. We are halfway through the year officially. Not like a massive amount of stuff, and I I think it is indicative of like how I approach my collection now, that all of the manga especially was ongoing series. I'm very hesitant to start completely new things to me. I say that this month, July, I have at least one new series. So it's not like I'm completely stepping away from manga, but I do think that, again, long-time viewers know, I kind of cycle into seeing, oh yes, I want this. Oh, I can find this a new home. And I'm sort of in that finding new home era of the cycle. But in saying that, everything that I got this month is fantastic. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, opinions on any of the titles that I talked about this month. And leave a comment if you have anything you'd like to share. Otherwise, you can also find me on social media at Twitter. I'm not going to call it its new name. That's @GWE_reads. I'll link it in the description below. You can also find on this channel the podcast that I mentioned in this episode, Read Right to Left, as well as on pretty much every podcasting platform. I co-host that with my really good friend Ray from Whimsical Pictures, and this month we will be spotlighting Tatsuki Fujimoto, a mangaka that I have great respect for, even though his crazy mind is something of an enigma, just typically. Yeah. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Bye till then.